Last time on Dragon Ball Z.
No, no.
It basically was.
Yeah, the fucking
Um, we,
fight was definitely.
we chilled for a moment before things got bad again. We continued making saves. Oh no, not the music. Fuck. Uh, let's see. The saves were against the tree, which started whispering things to us. Adonis saw the freak false changeling caressing the tree and was like, "Absolutely fuck that," and force passed with legendary resistance. We each heard the tree call us different things, although it took the form of our own voices. So Hawk heard greetings, Fey Ender. Um, Balanet heard seven voices that then coalesced into her own and did not hear the tree so much as she spoke aloud. Daughter of the Void. Adonis does not hear that, but Hawk does, and watches it leave her lips at the same time he hears his whisper. He asks what's going on. She doesn't know. The Dominant gives Hawk a look like, and shakes their head. Dominant points us all to our missions. There is active desolation in the city, so we need to get going. Hawk needs to get to the core before Palor arrives, which doesn't happen. Every second we spend in the garden is making the flowers bloom more and more. The tree's getting stronger. It's almost like it's breathing. Adonis warns that if the sun is weakening to Lorna, then he's the only one who can stand a chance against Palor. So he starts to fly up, but then realizes that there is a dome of divine magic around the area, and no one can leave. So the Dominant is like, well, I want you to get Adonis, or I want you to get Hawk out at least, because he's also the only one with clearance to do what he needs to do. So we discuss strategy, and then Palor shows up. Palor does talk to us for a bit. It's interesting. He's like a disappointed father figure. He's a lot nicer to deal with than Sarenrae, but also he still didn't act during a bunch of times. So, we talk about a lot of things. He says, my father said to look for the tree whose roots extend high and low and make sure it never exists again. And it didn't, until Balanet and Softdom. He informs us that we committed 3 mortal sins. Number 1, killing his father. Number 2, killing his daughter. And number 3... where was number 3? It's in this entire speech. Bringing the tree into existence. The garden, basically. So he says, I am going to give you all something of a chance because I do have mercy. Send me your strongest and I will fight them. And if they win, I will leave you all be. And if they lose, then I have a city that needs finishing and there can't even be ruins left. And, I will continue. There's some confrontation. It's kind of sad. We learned Sarenrae's biggest fear was being mortal and having done unto her what she did to others. Palor also admits that the Overgod speaks and we listen even if we do not understand. Adonis does teleport Hawk out, and before he does, Palor tells Hawk we'll meet again, perhaps on discolored pastures, and says, Benny is proud of you and awaits you in Elysium. I made sure she may have taken his body, but she did not take his soul. And he's teleported out. So Palor takes Adonis away to fight in the ruins of Yuldava. They have a massive battle. It is Insano mode. Bro bloodies Palor. Gets him down very low. But does eventually succumb. During that fight, Pelor does reveal his true self to Adonis and his true name, Radiant Apotheosis. Makes himself mortal and sheds his godhood for the fight. So if he had died there, he would have died. Pelor also tells Adonis, "You're what an Empyrean should look like," which Adonis says, "But no god made me, I made myself. My kin is an Adam. You are my enemy." He lasts 14 rounds before the final grain of sand falls through the hourglass. They basically tell each other we'll see each other again in some other time. There's the sound of an egg cracking, and Adonis thinks it's up to you now, Hawk. Pelor tells him to rest with his brother. We return to the garden. The false changeling never despawned. Sadness happens. Belinet desperately tries to look for a way to get out of the dome, asks Auric, asks the two halves of Softom, even asks the false changeling, can anyone break the dome, but none of them can. When she does ask the false changeling, though, the Dominant points out that she was not speaking any language that any of them knew, and she did not even realize that. She says, "No, I was speaking Adamani. I was just asking if it knew how to get out. It doesn't." There is panic. Scarlet Fist and Lorna both reveal that the tree called them Sister of the Void. The two halves of Softom commit to protecting Belinet always, and she says she will protect them too and do better. She will do her best. And both in unison tell her, "I know you will, Belle." The Belinet starts to hallucinate water flooding the garden, and is told she's having a panic attack. The two halves of the sisters squeeze her tightly, look at each other, and then go and leave, and Belinet understands at least, that they are going to protect her from something, going to fight Pelor, who is returning. Left with the Dominant, Belinet continues trying not to panic. She just wants to get out, and, we'll go, and when we leave, we'll figure out how to get Softom back, blah, blah, blah. But she can't stop panicking, and the water keeps rising, and the Dominant can't see it. So, in an act that is meant to be mercy, the Dominant asks Belinet if she wants help relaxing, and they kill her. They kill her, and during that, there is a moment, or several moments, where Belinet, who's no longer Belinet in those parts, stabs Auric in the back 7 times with the blade. But they continue. They confess love and kill her. And as she fades and dies, she gets glimpses and fragments and images of everything happening around her. Everyone fighting, her sisters, the two halves of them. Lorna is banished somewhere. Scarlet Fist is tossed aside somewhere. The Dominant sobbing in a corner, hiding from the light. The sound and sight of something cracking, the formation of something covering up everything around, hiding what was there until the coming of another age. And Belinet dies. And we leave there. Well, her body is still walking around, but it's not her. And then we return to Hawk.
We do, in that moment, officially return to Hawk.
Yo.
You watch, we return to you as
Oh, it would have been funny if I didn't say anything.
the snow falls to your feet from the simulacrum. The sound of devil and demon hordes pounding city, the sound of occasional screams and still occasional fighting from people, soldiers that are just fighting with everything they have. Those who remain in the city are trying desperately to fight. But you have a mission that you need to complete.
Yep.
Sometimes
Last promise I made.
And sometimes the best thing one can do is to end someone else's suffering, including the rest of a dying city's. And maybe a final fuck you to the gods. You know the way.
Making my way down.
You begin to meander through burning city streets. You see the towering form of Asmodeus. Bloodied,
Also,
broken horned.
how Constantine fucked him up. And Adonis.
You see adorning one of the horns of Asmodeus, like a trophy, is the body of Constantine.
Oh.
Oh man.
You're not sure
So
whether that is an insult or an honor.
Respect.
Yeah.
There's two things I want to say. One, I was looking at, I believe it was Twilightsville now. I'm always under non-detection, and I can cast greater invisibility anytime. I'd obviously have those two going. But also, upon seeing like his war buddy's just lifeless body hanging on there is a moment of hesitation where Hawk just wonders if she just put a cap in Asmodeus' ass.
I get you. You would see
But-
some people being devoured by devils, being eaten.
Seeing that as well. Hawk's thoughts would just be like, you know what? We blowing everything up would make their pain last longer.
They're dead,
Asmodeus
luckily.
specifically. Oh no, yeah, I meant the demon's pain.
Yeah.
Us blowing up might hurt a little bit. Maybe.
It may not kill the gods, but it's gonna make their life a living fucking hell.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes spite is better than a quick death.
Mm-hmm.
You begin to make your way
Very true.
down to the core. Slide your ID card as the powers are still on backup, but they're functioning. You never really felt like this place was home, but you were swore to protect it either way. It hurts seeing it in ruins, even if you know how fucked up of a place it was. It was still yours.
And other people's actual homes. So
Yeah. But you got a lot of people out.
it's
You
true.
gave them a chance, you gave them a future.
Deep breath, I continue down my way.
You meander down dark corridors and flashing lights and warning sirens. Before finding yourself at the core. Laying in front of the keys. you find a note that just has an envelope that just has Hawk written on it.
Oh, this might hurt, guys. Hurt my feelings. Let's see. What's the note say?
Hawk, if you're reading this, I'm already gone. I just want you to know that you were always the closest thing I had to family. You meant everything to me. All the times we spent together.
Oh.
When you taught me how to shoot. Even our hard moments, our arguments. Sharing a bottle, me showing you high societies. Wild parties. You were my life, Hawk. Anything else that comes after does not matter to me. Your friend even in death, Benny.
Damn it. There's definitely like a pause before Hawk just lets out a breath he didn't realize he was holding on reading the note. I'll get to see you again one day, buddy. I can promise you that at least. Even after death, you're still one of my best friends. Like a brother I never had.
The lights begin to flicker. A large shudder hits. Unsure
I guess
of
it's high time I get this started, huh?
You pull off a key with the the symbol of a dom in the base. The end of an age. What happens after this? Things will never be the same.
Can only hope I'm leaving it better than how I lived through it.
In your heart, you know that this is going to be a one-way trip. You slot in the key. And you turn it. Bunch of sounds begin to click like a something powering up deep in the reactor. And then you hear detonation protocol initiated. Clearance password.
Blow up. Do it.
Voice recognition detected. Hawk, keeper of humanity. Permission granted. Detonation in T-minus 30 seconds. Machine whirs, prismatic light stirring from the residuum core. You got 30 seconds left.
Hawk closes his eyes, steadies his breathing. Doesn't know what's gonna happen to him, where he's going. But as this happens, a smile begins to creep up on his face.
You hear the fighting outside.
Potentially, his last thought is, living really was the best, wasn't it?
It really was. Familiar voice creeps up behind you.
Hmm?
In your, like, just in your mind.
Mm-hmm. Came to see me off.
I can't do anything until that barrier's down, until his core is gone. I don't want you dying on me, though. You're important to me.
About that. So, small question.
Mm-hmm.
Would Hawk know if it's just a one and done boom? Or is there multiple booms coming?
It's one big boom. But it is,
I was thinking about casting Death Ward.
yeah, it's, it devours magic.
Mhm.
The whole thing is meant to be like it leaves nothing but dust.
Yeah. Oh.
It's basically it's Zarbamba.
Yeah.
Like it is.
Guessing plane shift wouldn't work then, huh? Not until that barrier's down.
Not until the barrier's down. Not until, because of the keys and how the city
Mhm.
functions. The fighting grows greater outside. You don't know which gods, but there are gods outside fighting with each other.
Couldn't a lot of you just been like the Moonweaver? At least she's chill.
You know where she's at.
Yeah. This point, like I keep thinking of like spells I could potentially use, but the barrier and Bach's just not great with magic, so just like, man.
See you around, fake cowboy.
It's been a pleasure. As I light up one last cigarette.
Timer kicks down. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. A flash, prismatic light, so bright that you are forced to close your eyes and welcome your end.
The smile never left Hawk's face.
You held your breath when it happened. You felt the heat glow and radiate. But then you find yourself letting out another breath. And then another breath.
Hawk would slowly open his eyes. You're just like, that doesn't feel right.
When you open your eyes, the only thing you see around you is an endless sea of stars.
Where is this?
But you're
It's that
standing.
Elysium place.
Hello, Hawk.
Is that him? Is that Benny?
You turn around. And you expected to see Benny. You expected to see something beautiful, the golden fields of Elysium as they've been described. But you just see stars. And you see in front of you a feminine figure in almost military officer's uniform with a face made of stone.
Who might you be, miss?
My name is Lucia.
It's a mighty fine name. Clearly, you already know who I am.
I do. You decided to detonate a bomb.
Suppose I did, huh?
Congratulations. You should be dead.
Yeah, I really should. Mind telling me why I ain't?
I don't mind telling you some. Why don't we take a walk?
Sure, that'd be kind of nice.
You begin to walk down,
Walk at her pace.
and you find yourself moving through space-time back into the outskirts of Adam right before the bomb went off.
What's all this?
This is
Honestly?
the war. This is what was supposed to be the ending of everything. You succeeded. You detonated the bomb. But you have too much use to be left dead. See, I represent an organization that likes to keep things into a canon of events.
I see.
And you would see this fighting happening between various gods. You'd see Asmodeus and Lao.
Do I see him burning, please?
Not quite yet, but you will.
Okay.
And probably 5 or 6 the prime deities. Off in the distance, you would see Bahamut. Not fighting.
Shit.
He looks towards your direction with this what the fuck glance on his face.
I'm probably sharing the glance, and I return it. Just like, no, man.
None of the other gods seem to notice you. Like, at all.
Shit.
And you just see, like, his big, like, one of his large, dragon hands come up and, like, waves.
Hawk raises his right arm, kind of like shakily returns it, just like, hey, man. Long time no see, Frank.
And he just puts up his other one and is just like that, very much like, how?
I got no clue, partner.
As you do remember, Frank also has a bit of foresight gifts, so
Yep.
he... Fucker's like, I saw you die!
I felt it! I don't get it either!
And you would see, off in the distance, a large blooming of flowers and an expanding garden.
Just
Walk with me.
kind of sighs. It's just like, alright.
You guys begin to walk towards the direction. Things are weird because time seems to be acting differently.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like pausing and stopping and pausing over and over and over again.
Got you.
You walk towards this area. And that's when you begin to turn around and see the starting of a blast. The building you're in the ground begins to rise as if exploding, you know.
Yeah.
Large prismatic light, and you knew that you were in there.
Mm-hmm.
You like making a difference, don't you, Hawk?
If I'm able, yeah.
I would like for you to see something. As you get closer, you would see Lorna and Scarlet Fist battling Paylor.
Oh shit.
And you would see Auric has Bellinet in an embrace behind the tree. Blood seeping out of Bellinet's neck. You would see the knife, the blade stabbing into Auric's back. Bellinet, who has a demonic smile on her face.
Shit.
Time goes and you see the stabbing motions happen. And before you watch as Bellinet's eyes flicker, fall, and she falls to the ground. Auric stands bloody across the face, the wounds trying to close, but they can't fully close. They do look the best they have in like a day. Scarlet Fist waving her beautiful flurries at Paylor, Paylor blocking attacks, Lorna channeling her hate and rage into a god. You would see the wounds on Paylor that Adonis must have done. He's armorless, trying to get his armor back, and you can see some of it starting to form, different parts of it, but it does not look the same as it did before. Definitely looks different.
Hawk definitely smells. He knows Adonis fucked him up a little bit.
Oh, he has fucking, like, solar flares coming off like wounds.
Boy, I knew you had it in you.
You would see Auric begin to cry. Tears of blood. As they begin to fall to their knees. As you watch as Bellinet begins to stand back up. bloodless. And you'd hear her speak. To Arik. Thank you for finally getting rid of her. Before you watch as the body of Balanet begins to float. And the tree begins to roar and grow.
Guessing this is what you want me to see, huh?
It is. Your friend
So who's
or
that then?
sister fought until the very end to keep herself here. She never gave in. But the creature already took hold. A long, long, long time ago.
I see.
That, as far as we understand, is Dahlia. You watch as Dahlia whirls and the blades split apart and begins to send them in directions towards Pelor. With a grotesque smile, you see the aberration on their knees worshipping.
Looks to Lucia and it's just like, so what's your plan for me then? You want me to shoot that bitch?
Pelor needs help. As you see, Arik is not functional. You watch as people from the city there's devils, there's angels even, beginning to, eyes dazed, glassed over, looking like they're sprinting, clawing to try to get towards the garden. You see Arik fighting something, their mind between crying and also trying to stand back up. But every time the sun singes their skin, and it steps them out of us. Oh no!
Constantine.
Yeah, sorry. I can't have that play. I need to actually delete that, unfortunately, because
Copyright shit.
yeah. As if trying to not be puppeted. But they're all running to try to get to this tree. How many did she have under her influence? How many did Balanet never even realized?
Probably too many to count.
You see them all beginning to mingle towards and get there. Pelor, struggling as in his injured state, you watch throws off Scarlet Fist, tossing her asunder. For lack of a better word, yeeting her to the next fucking dimension. And you watch as they snap their fingers and banish Lorna.
Beast.
Coming towards Dahlia, you watch as the blades rip into Pelor and they reel back, falling back. He's too injured. He needs help.
Let me look at my sheet.
You watch as it begins to extend for miles upon miles. The garden, feet per second, just growing. The tree beginning to sprout and grow, getting taller, and its roots beginning to strengthen underneath. You're a good shot. And you know that at the very least you can knock her back enough to create an opening.
Oh, chat. Should I? Look at what I just posted in the redo chat.
Let me see.
Ooh. Oh my.
Do it. It's almost like it was made for this.
Dun, 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 dun. Thought a word. Hawk takes off Twilight's veil.
Let me put on one of your songs.
Kind of, he understands the situation. He understands why he's needed at this point.
Actually, let me put on
And
something a bit more fitting.
oh,
We were witnessing the end of the world. And if there is to tomorrow, you know what you have to do.
Hawk takes a knee, aims in with the rifle.
So you go to aim in, and you lock on. You know that once you pull that trigger, it's over. At least you'll be able to create an opening.
I'll do what I can.
You
As long
must.
as you kill this fucker.
You must
Took over
stop
the
the
building.
final eclipse.
I like that name. And just boom. And I will use Lucky. I know it can't miss, but you know.
Yeah. Right as you pull the trigger, you watch as the face of Belinet turns to you, and you watch the facial expression soften for a moment. And you watch almost for just a second your friend and sister-like figure return. And you watch
There's
in the
definitely
mouth
shock on his face.
the word "ha"
Oh,
before this bullet strikes her right in the head.
oh, I was gonna flavor it a little.
Flavor it,
Okay.
please.
So I imagine it kind of like just a bullet that never ends. If that kind of makes sense.
Like a line.
So like,
Yeah.
yeah, it like travels across like starting from. Let's go like starting from like a leg or something, just cutting through skin and tendon through the body until just ending up right in the chest where it kind of like continually spins and just embeds itself.
I like that. You watch.
There's definitely shock on Hawk's face as soon as that Hawk happens, so.
You begin to wonder yourself, did you just kill your friend or did you kill her? And maybe it's a question you'll never get answered. But you see it for a time and you hear Arik convulsing on the ground. Just in agony and pain. Not physical, emotional, catatonic, hiding from the light.
Can we get her out? Can we get them out? They'll die if they don't.
Yes. You have a scroll on you.
You cut out. What'd you say?
I said,
Oh.
me or...
Yes,
Yeah.
you.
I said,
Oh.
yes. You have a scroll on you given from a dear friend. Send them to the vacation home like they always wanted.
That sounds nice.
They
I'll
need-
explain everything to him in due time. And I will use wish to bring me an arc towards that vacation home. Home.
home. And as you do, you watch as Belinette's body smacks against the tree. And the tree that normally seems to never take damage, you watch as a piece of bark comes off. Pelor stands up and begins to seal this into this obsidian-like texture, this structure, putting all the remaining strength they have into closing this forever and entombing your friend that you may have just killed, and everyone who ran towards the tree, hopefully forever. Lucia comes to you and goes, Mark right now is in no place to understand.
I know.
It's time for you to go home. There's a court waiting for you.
Alright.
It's time. You feel the blast. From off in the distance, you can see the giant blast, and even as far as you are, somewhere up in the mountains, you see gods being knocked the fuck over. And any remnant of the Grand Republic of Adam is vaporized. What is Hawk feeling in this moment?
Oh boy. Probably even he doesn't know, to be honest. Sorrow. Wishful thinking that maybe the future will be better. Missing his friends. I guess mostly on the sad side, if I put it that way, but a hope within that maybe things will be better eventually.
Lucia feels your tension and kind of just touches your shoulder. Stone that you would expect to be cold is awkwardly warm to the touch. Feels almost like bees inside their hands.
Oh.
Yeah. Weirdly, like vibrating.
Mhm.
Hakahiro's path is wrought with nothing but pain. Is that a
Yeah.
path you are willing to walk?
Yeah. I think I've done enough bad. Maybe it's time I start doing some good.
We'll be in touch.
Alright.
Walk towards the edge of the mountains. You'll see dancing lights, and upon entering, you will find your way home. the court were those who will welcome you with open arms.
I appreciate the second chance, Lucia. As I'm going to classic Hawk moment. Sleight of hand a cigar into their hand.
They accept even if they're not even going to try to roll.
Question.
You begin to walk. You begin to hear the sound of wing beats as you walk upon the edges. You're walking in the air, by the way.
Alright, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. To see a somewhat familiar face, but also puts a little alarm because you see the face of a slightly more masculine Sarenrae. Hawk?
Saren, right?
Reye,
Oh.
but
Oh. Alright. Well,
do you recognize me?
I mean, I know who it is, but
Yeah.
could I make a roll? Would that be like an insight?
Yeah, make insight.
Okay.
Yeah, the facial features are unmatched.
I'll be damned. Jonas. It's good to see you again.
Likewise.
So it's the you knew you, huh?
I want to make the world a better place.
Another smile just creeps up on Hawk's face and he's just like, likewise, old friend.
I'm sorry for everything. I wish I could have said more.
I wouldn't worry none about it.
Will you promise me something, Hawk?
What's that?
Never lose sight in what's good. No one is above or below redemption. Including those who could shake the foundations of the world. I'll never give up on her if you don't.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
promise.
he's speaking of Lorna.
Yeah. All we can do is try.
It's all we can do. For Bellinet. For all of them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get some rest. I'll see you when the world is not like this.
I appreciate it. I tip my hat.
You bring their head down and you watch as a large number of people are following behind them in this warm, golden bubble. All the ones he said he would save.
My man. Man of his word. I respect that.
as you walk into these beautiful prismatic lights. You begin to shimmer and you find yourself stepping into this weird soup-like consistency before finding yourself at the front of a table. And you'd see all your furry friends. And they just look at you with a smile before running up to you to give you a hug.
I give back the hugs best I can. You know, I always gotta come in fashionably late.
Go fuck yourself. And that's where we're gonna end Hawk's story. For now.
Yay!
Yeehaw.
Yay!
And again,
Yippee!
just to reiterate, upon some time later, at the base of the spire there is Arik Voltan. A bit more femme going by the name of Karina. Placing flowers. Hundreds upon hundreds of flowers. And then some time later you see her return with a little girl, a little Tomu. To place flowers again, and little Tomu, who doesn't even understand why they're placing flowers, is very enamored by the bugs on the ground and the structure work of this tower.
Actual child. That's sweet.
But there's a sorrow-filled face on Karina every time they come, but they look at Tomu and you watch that love return to them once more. And even with the people who have lost everything, sometime there is still a glimpse of hope. And you all brought that to an extensive level. The world is not perfect in the modern day, but it is hope. Cities began to come back kingdoms. Humanity was never truly defeated. And somewhere on the distance, a dragon roars, waiting to be found. My friends and players, I want to thank you all for officially playing Shattered Faith. As this is truly the end of this story.
Hell yeah.
Hawk, the only remaining survivor of the Keepers of Humanity. And not even a choice they were able to make.
Nope.
Paylor told you.
Yeah. And it's right, this would be like one of the worst outcomes for him. He didn't want, as old as he is, to be like the only keeper that makes it out of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He wanted to bolster the new generation that he was working with, but that's life, baby. That's life.
And for those who have told and understand my lore with what happened in the Feywild, your true name makes sense. Because you didn't give up on her.
Yeah.
Thanks for not giving up on my sister.
And that is where I'm going to end the recording, friends.
Okay.